Hey everyone, welcome back. This is Subby devlog number two, number three if you're a normal person. Uh, Today we're going to be jumping in and trying to get some core mechanics of the game done. Something I'd like to get done is working with getting player movement working, getting the life spawning working, and maybe adding in a couple pieces of pixel art. Who knows? Um, but that's the goal for this video. Uh, Swap into code now. All right, so we've made some progress. I've actually managed to crash Unity for the simple reason of adding in a infinite loop. Let's see if I can zoom in on this. Right here, I left this as I when I first wrote the loop, and instead of J. So it went into an infinite loop, and at this point, I can't do anything with Unity. It seems to have crashed. So let's kill it. Wait a second. Actually, I have to open up Task Manager. Let's see, Unity. Let's use Force. All right. Time to open Unity again. We'll see what happens on the next go round. All right. Well, we apparently have creatures spawning. The reason they're little eyes was back when I was creating the. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. The life asset for the little jelly. It's gonna be like a little jellyfish. I added in the visibility tooltip here. It's a little eye. I can make it a bigger eye. And if I start it, it's just a real quick way of changing all of the assets on the fly. All I have to do is change it here, and we could set it to the little green check mark. If I were to restart this, a bunch of green check marks. So, joy of scriptable objects makes doing development of this kind of stuff much easier. Looks like I am going to need to increase the uh, width of the area that they're spawning in. I made that all kind of parameterized right here in the life spawner on each. Let's see, where'd they go? On each of the jellyfish that are spawned, I'm giving them a max depth. So by doing this, I can parameterize the creation of them and say, hey, this is, you're only going to find one of these so far down, rather than, say, have a jellyfish at 1,000 feet under the water, or whatever we decide is the max. Uh, keep the we'll keep the easier life up the top of the ocean, and then move to slightly more advanced, dangerous life the further we go down. But at this point, we now have creature spawning. All right, so as you can see, jumping back in here, we've got life now spawning in a reasonable location under the submarine. We'll say right up here where the sub is the surface of the water. We're gonna have to use our imagination at the moment, but life is now spawning based on how I'm controlling it here. See over here on the right hand side, we have our min and max x value. So I can set it right now. It's set to -50 and 50. So it's saying that the furthest point out here on the right is +50, and the furthest value out here on the left is -50 in terms of Unity's positional space in the transforms. It seems like it's working pretty good at the moment. Next thing to do is we'll have to add in a couple variations on the life that's being created, and probably mix up the generating algorithm that is being used to actually populate these things. But at this point, it seems like it's working. Yay, progress. Woohoo! All right. All right. So looking at this, this looks like it'll work if we just add in a new life scriptable object. Let's see if this works. Life. Let's see. Going back to the original idea of Subby, one of the ideas that I came up with was a little pufferfish, but instead of it being a pufferfish in the normal sense, it was more of a kind of a striped, like a tiger bloated thing. Let's call it a tiger bloat. Why not? All right, so tiger bloat. These are gonna be a little bit heavier, so we'll say they're 5. Max health, slightly heavier. What was the jelly? I think the jelly was 1. We'll give these guys 4. No, 5 there, 4 on the health. In terms of monetary value, let's say they're worth. Let's see, the jellies were 5. These guys can be worth 7. Max depth they can go down is, instead of 70, we'll say they can go down 150. Why not? Speed, they're going to be nice and slow, so give them a 3. Jellies move at a 2. They're a little bit bigger. That should work. This tiger bloat. And description. You know what? If you have an idea for the description of a tiger bloat, leave it down in the comments below. And we'll give it the sprite for. Oh, this guy looks good. Why not? good placeholder for now. All right, so we can unpause that, save. All of that saved. I didn't realize I was editing. Another joy of scriptable objects. Those all stay. Let's see. So we go to the controller here. Add an element. Talk about. And should be just like that. Now we should be in business. View. Pause. And there we go. There's our 2 different forms of life. Just chilling now. Cool. As we can see here, we now have little jellyfish. Kind of creepy looking, but hey, it's placeholder art and it's not a circle. So life spawner's working. Next, we're going to be moving on to player movement. I'm going to think about how to do that. Stay tuned. Right, so now we have some movement working. It's not perfect yet. There still needs to be some fine tuning. I need to adjust the gravity of the player and everything else, but we are getting the input from our movement script using the new input system. It did take me a second to remember that I needed to add in the setting the player controls object in the player script where I've got all my movement handling at the moment. Um, I kind of forgot to add in these three functions. So the unenable, undisable, and awake. They're the built-in mono behavior functions that run at certain times. So awake is whenever the object comes alive after start. Can't remember if it's after start or before start off the top of my head. But unenable and undisable is whenever you toggle the item in the inspector, uh, and it just makes sure the player controls are enabled or disabled. And that wasn't happening to begin with. So we didn't have player controls when I first tested it. So that's fixed. Player controls are working. I'm going to take a small intermission here and might actually call it a night and pick this up tomorrow and go from there. All right, so I'm back from the intermission. It's been a couple days. A couple things were in the works, and I wanted to make sure I had a clear path going forward. And I'm taking you along for the ride. So, if we jump into this real quick, this is the Trello board for Subby. This is the original Trello board for it. As you can see, I've got a few things that are in progress. We've got update sub movement up at the top. There's stuff for getting all the player subclass working, getting the game controller to make sure we have a proper working game loop complete, sub specs and upgrades, and collecting life. I actually move collecting life right up under sub movement. This is kind of a idea of things that are in the pipeline, and I just wanted to end this one here so you kind of have a idea of what's to come. Um, the saving system is actually going to be pretty easy. I've got a nice little setup for that. But other than that, this is kind of going to be the future of what the videos are going to be. I might be making them a little more personal, day in the life kind of videos. Uh, um, Maybe let you guys meet the dogs and whatnot. Um, Other than that, I think that wraps this one up. I would highly recommend checking out my buddy Ryan's SoundCloud down below. He's the one that's working on. He might actually be working on the sound for this game, and he's also let me borrow some of his music to put in these devlogs. So if you're curious at what the sound of the game might be, check it out down below. It's in the description. Other than that, that's going to wrap this devlog up. Hope you all enjoyed. I'll see you in the next one. TJ out.